Eric is here. He's the president of the Ericho Communications Group, co-founder of redevote.org, and that's where people can find you, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so let's have you guys jump in here, of course, just to give a little bit of, to give a background and to quote some of the Wall Street Journal article that came out today. As many know, on Thursday at the State Department, the president gave his big speech on the Middle East, in which he invoked the claims of friendship to tell Israelis the truth, which to his mind was that, quote, the status quo is unsustainable, and Israel too must act boldly to advance a lasting peace. On Friday in the Oval Office, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu offered his version of the truth, which was that the 1967 border proposed by Mr. Obama as a basis for negotiating the outlines of a Palestinian state was a non-starter. Administration reaction to this reciprocal act of friendly truth-telling, they say that Bibi, Netanyahu's nickname, was over the top. And that's quoting one senior U.S. official using the prime minister's nickname. That's not how you address the president of the United States. I want to start with you, Eric, to my right, to get your reaction to just this whole thing. So many people are talking about it. Not a lot of people are happy. What do you think?
I am floored by it. I've been a staunch defender of the president. I supported the president. I don't get this at all. This invoking friendship to tell the truth is just a bunch of yes we can headlines. It's baloney. If you've ever been there, and I'll be curious what Matt says, is the lay of the land now. You cannot go back to the 67 borders and expect Israel to ever be able to defend themselves. It's impossible. It seems like an incredibly naive perspective to me, and I bet Netanyahu is going to have is going to come out guns blazing today. And when people talk about that's not the way you talk to the president of the United States, I think the president of the United States, and I'm the last person who would want to say this publicly, I think he needs a lecture, and I think that's what he's going to get more of from Netanyahu.
Matt Kellen joining us again live from the D.C. Bureau. What do you think about all this?
I totally agree with Eric. I mean, this is kind of like amateur hour at the White House. First of all, for someone to call the Prime Minister by his nickname seems sophomoric at best. I think they came up with this plan around the campfire at Peace Camp because it just doesn't make sense. If you've been to Israel, as Eric said, you know it's just not going to happen. And look, you have to have a willing partner in this, and Hamas being inside the government of Palestine, they want to see the destruction of Israel. I mean, you just have to listen to what they say. They don't want the borders back. They want the destruction of Israel. So how do you negotiate with somebody that is coming to the table with that point of view?
Matt, why do you think that the president came out with the words that he did? So many people are asking why.
Well, he promised us that he was going to completely change the foreign policy of the United States, and he is doing it not just here, with a bunch of our other allies. I mean, talk to England and Poland, see what they think of the Obama administration so far. He is really, the fact that he did this the day before he was going to meet with Netanyahu was really kind of a slap in the face, and for him to expect not to have this reaction is either amateurish or completely arrogant.
Do you think that Netanyahu played it as cool as he could that next day?
If I were him, I wouldn't have played it as cool.
Really? Okay. And speaking, you mentioned our other allies. There's also a piece that is out today in the Times of London talking about building the essential relationship. Barack Obama and British Prime Minister David Cameron talking about when the United States and Britain stand together, our people and people around the world can become more secure and more prosperous, and that is key to our relationship. What do you think about our relationship with the UK right now and this piece?
Personally, I'm worried about the messages that this administration has sent to the UK right from the very beginning when they sent back the statue of Churchill, and the gifts that the president gave to the former prime minister when he came here. It just doesn't show the relationship that we have with this country, and there's nobody else in the world that we're closer to, and I think that President Obama really needs to step up his game and bring Cameron over here and show the unity that the world expects from us.
Eric, what do you think?
Well, you know, the piece was kind of, I don't know, it was a little surprising to me, and I thought read exactly like, you know, a rah-rah speech, and it was, you know, in theory penned by the two of them together. I mean, on paper, it looks like we're having a great relationship, and, you know, I read through that piece and say, this is a big defense of what's going on in Libya right now. It's nothing else. We're both in bed. We're in bed together in Libya. The country is debating how we feel about that, and I believe that that's what that piece was about. And I'm less worried about all the decisions that he's made. As this decision in Israel is just, I don't know how to say anything but you can't know about that country. You can't know the history to make the kind of statements that he's made.
Right.
Eric, I'd love to see, did you think that Netanyahu would react the way that he had, and how the administration didn't expect him to have that reaction?
This is what, I think it's kind of interesting, because what I've said many times about being in the room with Obama and senior spokespeople, people I consider like my dad. Yeah. I think people like my dad should be running the country, not my peers. We're too young. We're not ready yet to run the country. I think that's exactly what's happening right now with Netanyahu and Obama. So he's getting, we're all saying, oh, you don't talk to the president that way. Well, it's kind of like speaking to your elders. Netanyahu is an elder.
Right.
So I think he has to come out with some seriously strong words. Otherwise, it's not going to fly back in Israel, period. And I think it's appropriately so. This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't get it at all.
Matt?
I hope that he comes out swinging and telling the truth. As Eric and I have both said, if you've been to Israel, this plan just does not make sense. And then you add on top of it Hamas at the negotiation table, it's not going to work.
Well, it's not going to work. It's like, and Obama's backpedaled a little bit. He said, well, it's the words, it's the interpretation. Yeah, it is the words. You used the wrong words. It was okay when you ran on Yes We Can, and we voted for that. But so far we haven't, so that's a little bit of a disconnect. But these are the wrong words. It's not just the words. The words mean a lot.
And you're an Obama supporter.
I'm a big Obama supporter. In 2 years on this show, I've never once said, this decision is just drop dead wrong. It's drop dead naive. It's insulting, and it's going to hurt our party.